So you know how in the movie Finding Nemo, Dory's running around going, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming? Today, we are going to talk about the importance of endurance in starting your business and getting your first six customers. And I'm not only going to talk about endurance, but I'm also going to talk about this methodology of mine around six customers and why six? Why not two? Why not one? Why not 100 for that matter? What's the magic around six? So, we're going to hop right into it. Starting your business is an endurance game. And the reason I say it's an endurance game is because you just have to keep swimming. You just have to keep going no matter what happens, what mistakes you make, what mistakes you don't make for that matter. But what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to spend some amount of time planning. And what I really recommend is that you spend enough time planning that you have a mission, a vision, you have a goal, a monetary goal specifically in terms of what you want the first 12 months to look like for your business. And then you also will have an offer. And so you're going to spend some time working through just what I would call basic logistics of your business. And then you're going to launch. And it's in that launch process that you are really going to be put to the test. Your mind is going to be put to the test. Your resiliency is going to be put to the test. Either upstream or downstream of this, you will have either started the attraction phase, which is right putting yourself out there so that other people know that you have this capability, that you offer this product or service. And during that attraction phase, which we also call sales and marketing phase, you are going to be just constantly full of anxiety, restless discontent, wondering if you're doing it right, if you should do it another way. There's just going to be a ton of emotions that come up for you, and you just have to keep going. And the first major objective for you, if you think you want to start a business, is to start creating and posting content consistently. Now, here's the cool part about this: you get to control, I'm dropping my notebook here, you get to control the frequency, you get to control the platform, and you also get to control your message. And your message can literally be anything. Like, even if you think you want to start your business in some specific area over here, you may find that the kind of content you're called to create is actually somewhere completely different. And that's okay. Start creating content that calls to you, that you read, honestly. This is where that passion, I've got a handful of videos back, I talk about passion in your business. You want to do the thing that calls to you. And if you're quiet with yourself, you will be very woke on what that is. But you need to create first. I think starting to create while you're figuring those things out is fantastically important. I've recently worked with two people within my community to try to help refine the content that they've been putting out and how that ties into a potential mission, vision, um, customer profile, which will turn into an offer, right? And but they're already in the attraction stage. They're already figuring that out while they figure the rest of this out. And the magic, again, I feel like I keep saying this like a broken record perhaps, but the magic is in the doing. And it's in that doing that's the endurance part. The doing is the endurance portion of this exercise. And like I said, you'll think you get this stuff figured out and that the launch means it's like, I don't know, you get the sense that there's some sort of downhill that comes with that, and you don't, because you have to keep attracting people. And through that attraction phase, you're going to learn what people like, what people don't like. Me shooting this video right now, I've learned that people really enjoy when I shoot videos outside more than when I do videos inside. And fantastically, from a statistical standpoint, the loom type videos that I've done where I'm screen sharing and I'm walking through things have been miserable. Now, you could argue the quality of what I did also has a barrier to improvement there. But that's not something I'm willing to spend time on right now in this phase of my business. So I'm putting a bit of a pause on that to focus on content that for me is less. I'm not going to say it's easier because easy is really relative, but there's just less resistance for me in walking out in my backyard here, setting up my camera, brainstorming a handful of topic ideas, hitting record, and going for broke. For me, that's a relatively straightforward process that holds little resistance to it. But coming back to the topic at hand, this is an endurance exercise and it has a longer time horizon to it as well than you're probably anticipating. And that doesn't mean that it's going to take forever. That's not the case. And that doesn't mean also that you're going to spend all this time and like it's never going to work. That is also not the case. It's not a if it's going to work. It's not the lottery. We're not going down to the convenience store, getting some numbers, right? And throwing a couple dollars at a thing that may or may not happen. This will happen, but you have to show up to it every day. You have to allocate a couple hours to it every day, and you have to put the time in. And like my last video, it's when you don't put the time in, you just stop. And there's a variety of reasons why we can and we will stop. Because as Dave put it, life happens, right? So, like, life is going to happen and you're going to have to stop some days, or you're going to have a plan and that plan goes to just shit other days. That's okay. Like, that's going to happen. It's okay. But you just pick it up and you go again, and you pick it up and you go again, and you're going to get emotional, but you're going to go again. And you don't use that as a reason or an excuse to not do the work. And I know that if you're watching this, you're not an excuses type person. You're probably harder on yourself than you deserve to be. So I hesitate to even put the word excuses out there. Just be honest with yourself though. Like, ask yourself why you're feeling that way, and ask it another 4 times if that's what you need to do to get to the root of it, because in the root of it is where that magic happens, where that clarity occurs. And in each subsequent step of clarity, that's where your endurance comes from. If you've ever run a marathon, this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And so you have to just keep swimming. Even when you think you're too tired, even when you think you've had a bad day, you just pull the camera out, press record, and go for broke. And you can always make up for whatever problems you've created in the production with editing software and making edits along the way. Same thing if you're writing. So maybe video is not your jam, like you like watching video in terms of learning and inspiration and whatnot, but like writing is more your jam. It's the same thing. You might post something, right? And you kind of get mixed results on it or no results at all. That doesn't mean that that idea is bad. It just means that that idea might need iteration. It just might need more work. I'm somebody who has to create a lot of content as part of their job, so it's always businessy things like it's graphs and PowerPoints and things like that, right? And sometimes you'll spend a ridiculous amount of time on something and you just get this soul crushing feedback, but you can't take that personally because it just didn't resonate with somebody. Like you put your heart and your soul into this visual representation of something, and nobody understood, or very few people understood. And you're not trying to please anyone really with this as well. That's the other thing. This is the part that's so much different than a job. You're going to find your people. You're going to find your people who resonate with you for being who you are. So you need to just stick with that. But I also don't want you to be naive in thinking that, and I heard somebody use this analogy recently, so I'm going to use it again because it was a good one. We're not sipping margaritas on the beach here. Like, creating any kind of content starting your business, doing the pre work to get your business launched, then continuing that attraction and those sales cycles into scaling your business into ultimately what you want it to be through those products and services that you provide. It is an endurance sport. So if you don't want a marathon, don't sign up for this. It's seriously that simple. Or do it as a hobby. Start a school community. Do it as a hobby. There's nothing wrong with this. Starting a business, right? It can be hobby based. It can be lifestyle based. It can be revenue based. You could be trying to put a ding in the universe. This is the beauty of business in our modern day and age. It can be literally anything you want it to be. So don't let one person's definition of it influence like what it needs to be for you, but just get clear. Again, the purpose of the pre work is for you to get clear on that and set your expectations for yourself because you can always change them. That's the other beauty of this. You can endure to a point, and because you're a midlifer just like me and you have tons of life experience, you're going to know the difference between discomfort, challenge, and just outright, this isn't for me. You're going to know the difference between those two things. And I would highly recommend that if you think you're starting to get into the category or you've arrived at the category of maybe this isn't for me, it's not going to feel like maybe. When you do the maybe this isn't for me, you keep going. You keep doing more reps. You lift the weight. You make it go. When you know you need to put the weight down and stop, you'll know. You'll have heard something pop or crackle or some equivalent thing, but you will feel a level of discontent and discomfort that isn't just a maybe. It's a I can't lift this one more time. So trust in your ability to discern between the two, but again, also don't get this sideways. This isn't sipping margaritas at the beach. This is an endurance sport, if ever there was one, just like running a marathon, just like doing a Spartan race, just like doing 100 other types of physical and mental type endurance functions that I can't even think of half the examples there are out there, but there are quite a few of them. Marriage, being in a relationship can be another one, right? And in a very similar fashion, you know when it's time to put the weight down as somebody who's been divorced. You know when to put the weight down. So trust yourself, trust your inner voice, trust your bullshit meter at the end of the day and apply it to yourself and what you're learning and what you understand about yourself. But also keep swimming. Just keep swimming. So, switching to the next topic, 6. Why am I talking about 6 clients, 6 closed sales, 6 points of execution where there's financial compensation involved in that transaction? 6 to me is the magic number, no matter if you're selling high ticket or low ticket, where you have a solid proof of concept emerging. Like it's not 100% there yet, but especially in high ticket, if you're able to get, 6 people are so confident in the messaging, the help you've already provided, the value you've already given, such that they sign up for your high ticket offer, meaning it's, like let's say 2 grand plus. We could argue about what that barrier is, but let's say it's 2 grand plus, then you are on to something good and you will have to work on tweaking and pivoting little aspects of that thing, but you have resonance. Likewise, if you've signed up with someone like a coach or a mentor or some sort of program to help you through this journey and this process, you'll also definitely, after 6 of, again, doesn't matter if it's high ticket or low ticket, you should have ROI on that at that point as well for whatever you're paying. Again, whether it's high ticket or low ticket that you're paying for. If you're low, obviously the barrier of entry is smaller, but the quality of what you're getting is also quite a bit lower, more than likely. And I'll give you an example. So like there's two folks. They're very different in terms of their content styles. They both happen to be men. But Hamza, I think, is a good example, and Dan Coe is also a very good example of people who primarily sell low ticket offers. So anywhere from, let's say, 100 to 500, maybe $600 for their package or program of things, and then they'll bundle things so they kind of get up into that higher ticket category. But you're getting a lot then in that bundle because I think their average price point is around $300. I know Dan Coe's is like $300, and Hamza's, I believe, is more like $100. Is his average basket cost or ticket cost. So with those guys, they have, again, vastly different topics that they talk about. One is very much self improvement for, I would say, like a younger male audience, like your younger, like 20 something, or even like a teenager and high school type audience, you could say. And then Dan Coe is like really existential philosophy, business guy nonetheless, right? But he's very philosophical with how he talks about business and YouTube and content and writing and all different focus for that matter, all types of different things. And he also has a piece of software now that he's brought out into the world. But he's very similar to like a Justin Welsh in terms of, solopreneur doing 7 million plus annually with that average price point. Hamza is doing, I think he's up to like 2 or 3 million annually with a lower price point than Dan. But I think they show a good contrast in terms of the products that they're offering, their time on task, and the amount of just resources and endurance they've had to involve themselves in relative to each of their business models. And for each of them also, it wasn't until they had that like sixth customer that they really felt confident that they had resonance. And both of them also started building an audience intentionally or unintentionally, quite frankly, way before they ever launched their first product offering as well. So it doesn't matter if you have an audience or don't have an audience, but that audience and attraction is going to be part of the process. And the whole soup to nuts thing takes endurance, and it's at that point at which you have closed 6 sales that, again, you're going to get your money back on any money that you've put out there to get yourself positioned to do this work. And I do highly recommend that, whether it's me or somebody else, you do work with someone or a community, a group, to get your first product launch out there. It just goes faster, and you also have a group of people that you can ask a lot of questions with. My community's free. Link is in the description. But like I said, whether it's me or somebody else, I do really highly recommend. There are charlatans in this space, don't get me wrong, but actually those people are pretty few and far between. You just have to find somebody that you resonate with strongly and then spend your money with that individual. That's what I've done in the past. That's what I would recommend because it does help. But I don't say that as somebody who's also in the future going to be selling an offer as well. But just it really does help expedite the process when you work with someone who's further ahead of you in their learning process and in determining best practices as well. So that's the other reason why I say 6 is the magic number. So good luck. Drop comments below. Would love to talk to you. Love to hear about what you're stuck on, or if you're stuck on anything, or if you're just plain old lost, or you feel this call to do a thing but don't know where to start. Drop a comment or book a call. Love to talk to you. Take care.